Hi everyone, we're getting into the last bit of our hard trig identities. And when you see something like this, where these look the same, except for one is plus and one is minus, we're going to do this by grouping. Okay, and we're going to multiply by the conjugate. So what I'm going to do is group this 1 plus sine of theta plus cosine of theta, and I'm going to multiply this by the conjugate, the denominator by the conjugate. So let me go ahead and write it out again. I'm multiplying the denominator by the conjugate because I look over here and my simpler term is in the denominator. That's how I determine whether to multiply the numerator or the denominator. So basically, I'm going to multiply my denominator by the conjugate, which is 1 plus sine of theta plus cosine of theta. And whatever I do in the denominator, I also have to do in the numerator. Now, what we're dealing with in the denominator is your a squared minus b squared formula, and the numerator is the a plus b squared part. So you take care of the numerator first, and we're multiplying these two. It's your a is this, and this is your b, a and b. Same with this, a, b, a, b. All right, and then you just use your formulas here. So what we get in the numerator is 1 plus 2 sine of theta plus sine squared of theta plus 2 cosine theta times 1 plus sine of theta plus cosine squared of theta. That's the hard part. So you're doing this part right here. And now the denominator is a little easier, and we're just going to get 1 plus 2 sine of theta plus sine squared of theta minus cosine squared of theta. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and, before I move on to the next slide, write this. I know I have sine in the denominator, so I'm going to write this as 1 minus sine squared of theta. So I'm going to do that on the next slide. So what we're going to get is, I'm going to write it all again because we're on the next slide. 1 plus 2 sine of theta plus sine squared of theta plus 2 cosine of theta times 1 plus sine of theta. And I'm going to go ahead and write my cosine theta I had before also as 1 minus sine squared of theta. I'm going to go back. So this part right here I'm rewriting like I did this one. Okay? All over 1 plus 2 sine of theta plus sine squared of theta minus 1 plus sine squared of theta. I went ahead and distributed the negative. So cleaning all this up and simplifying, you're going to get 2, because if you simplify this, you're going to get 2 plus 2 sine of theta plus, because this, I don't know why I did that, but anyway, sine squared plus cosine squared is 1, so 1 plus 1 is 2. Probably should have just left this as cosine squared. All right, and then we got the 2. We still got this left. All right, now the denominator is going to be 2 sine of theta plus 2 sine squared of theta, because we have 2 of these and the 1's cancel. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this part right here by factoring out a 2. So you get 2 times 1 plus sine of theta plus 2 cosine. I'm just going to deal with the numerator right now. 2 cosine of theta times 1 plus sine of theta. Now, if you notice, when you factor by grouping, these two match, so I can combine these. 2 plus 2 cosine of theta times 1 plus sine of theta. So that's just factor by grouping. And then I'm going to go ahead and take care of my denominator now and factor out a 2 sine. So you get 2 sine of theta, and that's going to be 1 plus sine of theta. Now what you can do is cancel out the sines, the 1 plus sines. I can also factor out, I'm going to go ahead and do it here, the 2. So for this part, I'm going to factor out a 2, and I get 1 plus cosine of theta over 2 sine of theta. Now what happens is the 2's cancel, and we're left with our desired result, 1 plus cosine of theta over sine of theta. So you can see this one is a little more complicated. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.